John Boyle.
Sure. Will, as Pete said, you're unfortunately good at rehabbing. You've been through two of these serious injuries. Just what was the process like? I know different injury, but just a second year of having to come back from something major like that. And then how excited are you to be cleared for training camp to start things off?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the number one response I got was, "Oh, you've done it once, you can do it again," and that was kind of my mentality, man. I knew a ton about the process, kind of the ups and downs, and the grind that it takes to get back, the daily commitment, and that really carried me through this one. We worked tremendously hard, and again, I wasn't alone on this one, just like the last one. Tons of support from the Seahawks, my friends, my family, the fans. So. It was a group effort to get to this point, and I'm really excited to get rolling here and play some real football.
Greg Bell.
Will, did you have any human, natural, why me thoughts either at Cleveland or in the weeks after that?
Yeah, I think as prepared as I was to complete this rehab process, when you went down for the second time, I was on such a high, right? We had done a great job with my knee and worked tremendously hard and was super prepared, and the team was winning, we were having success, and then to go down again on kind of a fluke deal, it was kind of crushing for sure. And I don't want to say that lightly. There was a good week or so where I was in a bad place mentally, but that was the beauty. I was able to talk about it. I think that's one thing. If you're in a bad place, you should be able to talk about it with your friends and family and lean on those to kind of bring you up. You're isolated a lot when you get hurt. You're removed from your team, your environment that you're so used to. You're not allowed to exercise to kind of stress relieve, and it's hard emotionally. But that's one thing. If you're able to talk about it and work through those things with those close around you, it helps a ton.
Did you go home to Montana to do that talk?
No, so I had surgery here in Seattle, and that was the cool thing about this one was my teammates really picked me up. Last year I went home to my family, and they were great, and obviously they were great this round too. But just the relationships I've built in Seattle, how much they mean to me. Everyone was there for me, man, giving me support, telling me I could do it, and just encouraging me to stay strong and be positive. And it was hard to stay in the dumps when you had that much support, and kind of once we got the ball rolling, it was kind of going to work mode, and the surgery was really successful, as you kind of all heard, and then it was just my job to get back and prove those people right that were counting on me to get back.
Corbin Smith.
Hi, Will. I know that you didn't get to have any off-season workouts with your new teammates and were just on Zoom, but now you finally have 5 practices in. What's it been like to observe and learn from Greg Olsen on the field? Where's he fitting in with this tight end group?
Yeah, Greg's been a great addition, man. He really cares about the success of our tight end room. I think we're going to do some really cool things with the talent that we have, not just Greg and myself, but Luke and Jake and some of these rookies who are going to come along as time goes on. But these 5 practices have been really fun. We're growing, we're learning how to kind of operate together, what we need out of each other, and he brings a ton of knowledge to the game, and we're just trying to pick up all that stuff. Whether it's releases or route combinations or seeing the defense in certain ways, all that stuff comes in a factor, and I'm just trying to soak it in as much as possible, and also be a resource for Greg. Kind of how the Seahawks operate and do all those things. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really excited to work with him all year.
Did you guys ever figure out how many men it takes to bring down a gorilla?
It's still up for debate. If you want to get into it, I got plenty of time, man. But Luke claims that it's over 15, but I think we can get the right crew together and do it under 15 people, man. That's kind of the ballpark area.
Thanks.
Jen.
But will we ever know, Will? I mean, come on. Will we ever know the real?
Let's hope not. I mean, I don't really want to be stuck in a fight with a gorilla. I don't need that. Closest thing I'd probably come to is a grizzly bear back home in Montana, but not home. You're just praying, man.
Yeah. That's not my question. Here's my question. You mentioned the mental grind it takes to come back from an injury. In some ways, this entire year for all of us is a mental grind. Do you think you approach this and maybe the mental reps it takes when you can't be on the field as much or can't be in the meeting rooms, do you think you approach it differently based on your rehab experience the last couple of years?
Absolutely. I think, one thing I've learned just in the last 2 years is how powerful your mind is, really. And, it could have been really easy for me to shut down and say my career's over and just be in the dumps and have a poor attitude. But if you take that and flip it on its head and say, you know what, this happened, I'm going to do what I can to get back to do the thing that I love, and I'm going to have a great attitude no matter what I'm doing, you know what I mean? Whatever the work is, whether it's rehab or practice, I still have to have a great attitude going forward. And if you apply that to your life, whether it's how it was before COVID versus now, we're in Zoom meetings and we're not going outside as much, we're not being as social as much. It's all up to your attitude, right? And so if you have a great attitude about Zoom and I'm still able to connect with those I care about and I'm still getting work done and I still have fresh air and sunshine or whatever, all those things that you can control, right? Your attitude is what you can control. It's going to change your life. And I think if you set your mind to anything and try and be as positive and productive as you can, great things will happen.
Art?
Unmute.
Will, this is a little off topic, but have you been in touch with any of the players in the We Are United movement in the Pac-12? Have you followed the story? And if so, what are your thoughts about players increasing their leverage and trying to control a little bit of their fates in college football?
Yeah, I've offered support, just saying, hey, this is amazing what you're doing. I think, it's a unique time to be doing it, but I think it's the right time, right? They have a ton of time to organize and move forward, and you can kind of see what college football brings to communities, not only the school and the profits that they bring to the school, but just the community as well, bars, restaurants, local shops and whatnot. Those businesses are counting on college football happening, and to not give the players kind of their due, what they bring, isn't right. And so I completely support the movement. I hope it's done, properly, correctly. I think there's a lot of different ways, unique ways to approach it. But, I think it's going to be really positive moving forward.
And did you agree with the Pac-12 decision on not playing in 2020?
I think so. I think, there was a lack of planning maybe. I wasn't really in those conversations, but you have to protect the students, and it's not fair if campus is closed, right? Why should football players have to come and sacrifice and risk, getting COVID because they have to, because they're on scholarship, right? So if they weren't prepared to protect the players enough, I think it was the right move to not play football. If they create a plan that's safe for the players, and as time goes on and we know more about this disease and the virus, maybe there'll be football soon. But for now, I do think it was the right move.
Thanks.
Aaron?
Hey, Will, you talked about the attitude you have and staying positive at all times. Where did that mindset come from? Was it advice from somebody? And how do you work on it? Because obviously it's a great philosophy, but it's not easy to keep on a day-to-day basis. It kind of get monotonous. Do you meditate? Is there yoga, or is there any other things that help you keep that focus?
Yeah, sure. I've read a lot of books. The Slide Edge. That's the number one. Kind of got the ball rolling. Coach Pete gave me that in college, the Slide Edge, and really my main philosophy is what you look for is what you'll find. And so if you go out and you're looking for this thing, right, more than likely you're going to find that thing. So if it's a bad attitude, you're going to find a not fun day. Whereas if you're looking for, I'm going to make the most out of this day no matter what I have, more than likely that's going to happen. So what you look for is what you find. If I want to be a great football player, I'm looking for those opportunities to be great. I'm looking for opportunities to learn about the game, to improve my body, all those types of things. So it's not necessarily just being about being positive, but it's about what you're looking for. And so if you can have that daily approach, I think meditation is great. Starting your day with a meditation, just calm yourself, be still, and then focus on what you want out of that day. It's a great approach. And then finding joy, right? Whether it's reading, getting outdoors in nature, yoga, exercising, I think is great. All that plays a factor in your mindset. But it's not just about being positive. It's about being purposeful. It's about looking for what you want, I think.
Omar?
Hey, Will, good to see you, man.
You too. How's Hermosa?
It's good. Yeah. Nice and cool right now.
Nice.
I'm just curious, well, what the conversations are like with Greg, knowing that I'm sure he has a lot of perspective, advice for the longevity of his career and as much success that he's had. And then you have a lot to provide him, knowing the system and kind of being in that offense for a couple of years now. Just kind of what's that back and forth exchange like?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely a lead by example kind of guy, and so I'm just going to try and show the right way to do things. And then Greg is also very similar, right? So Greg shows up an hour early and gets his body warmed up, and he stays late, and he's watching film, and he's seeing all these things. And then I think now Greg's at the point in his career where he's able to vocalize that, hey, do this. I'm seeing this. The corners are jamming quite a bit. You should think about this. So it's going to be unique when the game comes around, but all those conversations are had, and whether it's verbal or nonverbal, you just try and pay attention and learn. And that stems to all the leaders kind of the Seahawks bring in, right? Bobby and Russ and how they operate. It's top down. It's first class.
Thanks, Will.
Brady?
Hey, Will. Which rehab do you think was harder, and in what ways were your rehabs different?
Yeah, I would probably say the knee was harder. More scar tissue to work through. I think the month of January we had to get the range of motion back, and anyone who has surgery knows that getting range of motion back is not the funnest. It's pretty painful, and a lot of scar tissue to battle there. So there was some hard days, getting that back. And then the Achilles was really different in the sense that it was a lot of patience, right? We had a really successful surgery, and kind of, the mentality initially was don't mess it up, right? Don't slip and fall and put weight on it to, re-tear it. So it was a lot of, wait and don't mess it up, let it heal. And then it was just a grind mode. I think both of them, you enter a state where it's just daily and it adds up, it stacks up and compounds. And once you have that, then they're pretty similar. But kind of the initial approaches of, the knee was challenging to get the scar tissue, and then the Achilles was, kind of a patience game, and definitely more mentally tough. I think the Achilles one was because of that patience, and I wanted to work, but it was, just relax and heal, and it was definitely challenging.
And one more, this is just a very general question, but what do you think makes Russell Wilson?
His consistency. I think you see it day in and day out in his approach to practice, and he's kind of adopted that, Super Bowl mentality every day, every game, and that's what makes him great. He doesn't take mental days off. He works his tail off, and it shows.
Bob?
Yeah, hey, Will. I was just going to ask, was there a specific day that you can remember, or a time period or a workout or something like that during the recovery from the Achilles when you really felt like, yeah, this is going to happen, I am going to be able to get back on the field this year?
I think it's a combination of days. I think anytime you're going through rehab, you have to do things that makes you uncomfortable, and then once you do those things, you have confidence moving forward. So it's a combination of days, right? Okay, I can do a single leg calf raise. I can do that. I can do multiple. And then, without pain. So that was the beauty of that one. And then it's running. It's, I feel good doing this. I feel good cutting, lifting, weights that I was lifting previous. All that stems to confidence moving forward. And then, kind of the second gear, I call it, is when you're back to normal, right? I'm walking, I'm playing golf, I'm able to go hiking, normal stuff. You have to switch into second gear to get to that elite level again, and that comes from preparation and running, being able to run the routes that I know they're going to ask of me, and being able to block and do all that stuff. So it's just a combination of the whole thing, and taking it slow, and just trusting that, even though I'm not here right now, if I do the things, I'm going to get there as long as I keep stacking days.
You did most of your rehab in Southern California?
Yeah, yep. So me and Penny were with John Meyer in LA. Spent a good amount of time in there, and it was kind of nice, quarantine, because I was just started running, and I was able to just go to a random park. All the turf parks were closed, so I went to this janky park and ran on grass, and but that's what it is. It's just 45 minutes a day and running and getting better. And by the time it opened up, we were running on turf and we were rocking and rolling.
Great, thank you.
Joe?
Will, how much do you maybe discuss or look forward to the two tight end sets with you and Greg, and then Tyler and DK out wide. It seems like a pretty potent passing attack, and is that something that you look forward to this season?
Yeah, I think Shotty's got a good problem ahead. I mean, just the weapons that Russ has, just trying to be available for him, and whether it's 11 or 12 personnel, I think we can do some really creative things. Not only just running the ball, helping Chris get yards, but spreading them out too. So I'm excited to see what Shotty comes up with. I'm ready to go, and it's gonna be a fun year for the offense.
John Boyle.
Yeah, Will, you kind of touched on the tight end, just that whole group earlier. How excited are you about this group in terms of the versatility? It seems like you got a lot of sort of different styles of guys who can do different things.
Yeah, we each have our own strength, and I think that's kind of what we're using this time right now in the build-up phase of, okay, what is each guy's strength? Luke, Jake, Greg, and myself, we all have our own unique abilities, but we're also able to do the same things, right? We're all able to block and catch the football, and that's a really dangerous combination when you put together a tight end room. So, we're going to be able to move pieces around. I think it's going to make it really challenging for defense, and I'm excited to see what this room can do. I think it's going to be a special year.
Masvita.
Hey, Will, what was it like putting on pads for the first time? I mean, just what were you present to?
Yeah, it was like Christmas morning, man. I was excited to go hit somebody again, and it just really shows that you love the game. When you put those pads on for the first time, and if you're not excited to put pads on, you shouldn't be playing anymore. So I threw the pads on. I had a ton of energy and was just trying to make every rep that I could count, and kind of let it loose again.
And is there a sense of relief that you did put on the pads, and like you said, you let it go?
Yeah. Yeah, again, I had a ton of confidence from rehab, and so there was never this fear of, I don't know if I'm ready to put pads on. So it was more of just the excitement, right? I'm putting pads on again. I'm playing the sport. I've worked my tail off. There was a bit of, celebration in my mind that, kind of when you go through rehab, you have to celebrate the little moments, and that was definitely one of them. But there wasn't this anxiety or fear that I had to get over. It was excitement to get back to doing the thing that I love. Thanks.
Last question, Greg.
Thanks, Dave. The Slight Edge book you mentioned that Pete gave to you, I'm trying to get the circumstances. You were still at UW, and did he come by for a workout, or how did you link up?
Yeah, so that's kind of his book. The Slight Edge is all about compound interests, and it can either work for you or against you, and kind of the message of the book is, a burger and a milkshake's not going to kill you today, but if you keep making that decision over and over and over again, eventually, you might have a heart attack because it's not healthy food, right? So so that's working against you. But if you stack compound interest for you, right? You're reading 10 pages a day. You're getting enough sleep. You're drinking water. You're enjoying life. You're building relationships, and you use compound interest daily. Small acts, easy to do, easy not to do. Your life is going to be exponentially better if you keep stacking those days. So that was kind of the first book that I ever received, kind of a unique mental approach to life. And then, there's the Powerful Engagement, Trevor Moad's It Takes What It Takes. There's all sorts of books out there that, if you just read 10 pages a day of one of those books, you're going to be, in a year or two, you're going to be way mentally sharper than you were when you first started. But the Slight Edge really kicked it off for me, because you have to make that decision to just read 10 pages a day, and that's a lot of pages over a year.
And Pete Carroll, the Seahawks coach, just gave a college player that, or what was the relationship there?
That was Coach Peterson. I call him. They're both Pete's to me. Coach Peterson back at UW did, yeah. But these guys, they gave us the coffee bean is what they gave us, and I was all about it. The coffee bean was about, don't let the environment change you. It talked about a carrot, an egg, and a coffee bean. And the carrot, when you put it in hot water, it mushes. It lets the environment, make it soft. And then the egg hardens, right? Hard-boiled egg. And when the environment's tough, and you kind of protect yourself and you harden. And then the last one's a coffee bean. And when you boil coffee bean, it creates coffee, right? And so from the inside out, you're changing the environment, not letting the environment change you. So that was a really fun one for me. I kind of am a nerd for those kind of books, but I'm searching for more. So if you have any recommendations, hit me up.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.